Hello, my name is Patty Hathaway. I'm known as a change agent. I'm the author of 6 books and 5 e-learning programs, including WAR, which is a program specifically for healthcare professionals on human trafficking awareness. It's been a privilege to co-author the e-learning program for healthcare professionals, War on Slavery, with Ruth Rondon, who's an 18-year human trafficking survivor. And we've had many interesting and informative discussions about the human trafficking movement and some of the challenges. And one of the things that I said early on to Ruth, because I also did healing ministry with human trafficking survivors for several years before meeting Ruth, is that there's an elephant in the room that very few people acknowledge. And the elephant in the room is simply this. A tremendous amount of people that I know and that I've encountered have this thought in their mind. Are they really human trafficking victims? And I think until we address that issue, that particularly with sex trafficking victims, that they're not by choice a sex trafficking victim or a prostitute, is a problem we're going to have in moving forward. I'm married and I have 2 young adult sons, and we've had conversations where they've actually said to me, how do you know they're not just prostitutes? How do you know they're really human trafficking victims? And we've had some very interesting discussions. And I think it's really important to address the elephant in the room that a good percentage of people really question that. One of the ways that we address that in our program is we tell 20 victim stories over the 20 lessons. And I know that by the end, you will know the answer to that question, at least where sex trafficking is concerned. We also share 4 of those lessons on labor trafficking. But until you hear enough victim stories and you have that question in your mind, it will really, really change how you deal with human trafficking victims. We provide a research-based format with Avenue, who's our e-learning partner. And the question I always think is, are you overwhelmed? I find most people are overwhelmed. Well, that's called cognitive overload, and it results in diminished ability to retain information and failure to connect experiences stored in the long-term memory. So the important thing with this is that people are so overloaded that the average length watched of a single internet video is only 2.7 minutes. Well, as you already heard, we provide an informative, engaging 3-minute video times 20 lessons. How do we get your attention? There's something called the reticular activation system, which works effectively when information is presented in a logical, sequential pattern. This focuses your distractive, overwhelmed attention. What this looks like is we use the same logical, sequential format for every lesson. We tell you a victim story, followed by a lesson, and then an action idea. Because we focus on a single idea per lesson, it allows you to more quickly and comprehensively acquire this important content. There's a law of emotion. Emotion drives attention, which drives learning. You understand them better, you remember them more accurately, and you find them more engaging in the first place. How do we share emotion? We share emotion through stories. Why? John Kotter, who wrote the book Heart of Change from Harvard, says change happens when leaders find a way to help people see problems or solutions in ways that influence their emotions, not just their reasoning. So what's unique about our program is we tell stories, because stories engage emotions and influence action. Facts tell, stories sell. The average number of stories in most 1-hour human trafficking awareness training is 1 or 2 stories. And Ruth and I, over the last 2 years, have listened or watched nearly every human trafficking awareness training program we could find to see how we compare. What we do in contrast to that is we have 1-hour training, but we tell 20 victim stories, which includes 4 labor trafficking stories. We use music behind the story because music enhances productivity and learning. Music uses the whole brain. It's proven to reduce your blood pressure, normalize your heart rate and breathing, and decrease levels of stress-related cortisol. How many of you in the hospital setting have really high stress job? So the cortisol is soaring. What you will find is that we decrease that. We also use music because it has the power to enhance some higher brain functions such as reading and literacy skills, reasoning, and most importantly in this program, it facilitates the recall of information. It also improves your productivity. So how do we increase your attention span and focus? We use video. James Cutting found there's a natural rhythm to the human attention span. It requires you to experience a stimulus change every few seconds in order for maximum attention to be maintained. Before I did the human trafficking e-learning, I did a program on HCAPS. It's how to improve or increase your job satisfaction while improving your HCAPS scores. It's found on patientexperiencehub.com. And initially when I worked with Avenue, they actually used different hospital scenes that were active, that definitely had stimulus change every few seconds, but it stressed me out. When they sent me the first preview video, it was an emergency room scene, similar to the photo you see on the bottom right-hand side. And I didn't pay any attention to what I was saying in the video because I was absorbed with watching this crew of people in the emergency department rush this patient into the ED. So I told them, no, we need to switch to 100% nature videos like the one you see in the top left-hand corner. The reason is it really relaxes you. So Avenue in our human trafficking e-learning uses nature videos in order to capture your attention. A video angle shift or pan or zoom is introduced every few seconds in order to leverage the natural rhythm of your attention span. I need to apologize. The video did not work really well, at least from the PowerPoint side, so I'm thinking it probably you did not see the beauty of the nature photography and video, which you will see when you actually go through the e-learning. I want you to notice too that I actually, when I did the research and writing of these lessons, actually looked for journal articles that were written by medical people, healthcare professionals, and so you'll see in this particular lesson that I took information, the story was taken from the Emergency Physicians Journal, some of the stats were taken from the Journal of Pediatric and Adolescent Gynecology, and also the Journal of Emergency Medicine. What's unique about our program is I did a tremendous amount of research on finding sources that are very specific to healthcare. Our content and research basis is extensive. We will give you 40 indicators of sex and labor trafficking. Those are the red flags, physical and controlling. And you'll notice that I talked about that in the learning aid, which I'm going to come to in just a moment. We do use 49 research statistics, including 19 unique medical research sources, some of which I just mentioned. Also includes the Journal of American Medical Association, Journal of Emergency Medicine, the Journal of General Internal Medicine, just to list a few. I mentioned the learning aid, and this is something very unique to our program in that we have provided a unique approach that will actually work. One of the things that Ruth and I worked extensively on, and it was the largest part of what Ruth did, is I really wanted to ask questions with warmth and a caring approach. And this is part of the WAR acronym. And when we started to get to the assess piece of it, which is step 2, part A, what I really wanted Ruth to find is for us to ask questions that a victim will actually answer. And this was challenging for Ruth because we looked at Via Christi and we looked at Greenbaum's 6 screening questions, and we used those as a basis, but I kept going back to Ruth and saying, when you were a victim for 18 years, would you answer that question? And she would consistently say no. And I said, then we're going to rewrite the question to be a question you would actually answer. Well, we can't do that, Patty, because they're medical doctors that wrote that question. And I said, I don't care who wrote that question. If a victim isn't going to answer the question, we have to change the question. It will still cover the same things that the other documents have out there, but our point is, let's do something that will actually work. And finally, we want to keep it really simple. When you get to step 2, part B, which is when you're really getting down, you've now identified this person as a potential victim, either labor, we have labor on here, as well as sex trafficking. You come to really 3 simple questions. Has your body ever been used for money, either sex or labor? Is anyone hurting you? And do you feel you're in danger of any kind? Here's what other people miss, and I think this is key. The R stands for release shame. Here's what we know. The most commonly shared trait of human trafficking victims is shame. And this is so key. Research shows that shame clouds good judgment, skews perception, drives destructive and unhealthy behavior. So our goal in this program is to teach you how to release the victim's shame. Doing it simply by saying things like, you're not responsible for what happened to you. You deserve better. I want to help you. You didn't ask for this life. You have rights. You deserve better. I want to help you. It's to constantly remind them they are worth saving. The key to freeing victims is to release shame. And that's the single greatest thing that all the other human trafficking programs that we've looked at miss. This is what's going to happen when you check into and actually watch the video. You're going to watch the video, and then what you're going to do is I provide a reflection on today's lesson. So this is taken directly from the program that I wrote, or the lesson I wrote. And then on the right-hand side is I give you today's action. So you will read that and have a chance to either share an action or reflection on today's lesson in the bar below. What happens is you post them. We really encourage you to post your comments, and you can post it, you'll see on the right-hand side here, as an action or as a reflection. So here's what Lou wrote down. I thought no eye contact meant a person didn't want to talk to me, so I tended to hurry up with them. Now I'll pay more attention. Joel says, very timely. I can recall several patients that may have been victims in the last few months. I need to pay closer attention. And Susan says, wow, I can recall a girl we had in ED last week that had an STD. She was 15 years old. I simply thought of her as a girl who was out of control and sexually active. I was disgusted with her and wanted to get her out as quickly as possible because she was flirting with some of the patients. I never thought of children as not being able to consent to sex. I'm committing to not assuming the worst about my patients in the future. So you will be able to, with all the other people that are in this program, is to really converse about this. What's really interesting and really exciting is when we have hospitals go through the program and you're now talking to colleagues in your hospital or hospital system about what's going on and what you're thinking about. Avenue works. Our programs and platform are built to ensure deep team engagement, 6 times industry standard. Clients on average report 47% improved performance within 20 days of Avenue. We have 100% client satisfaction rate. The pilot program will use pre- and post surveys. As you know, Southwest Michigan is the pilot test market. We're looking for a target audience of 1,000 healthcare professionals. We are partnering with Michigan Public Health Institute, MPHI, and they are providing the continuing education credit for nurses and social workers and CME credit for physicians. We do meet the state of Michigan's required 1 hour of human trafficking awareness training. We are committing to all the hospitals and healthcare systems who are participating that we will keep the same low pricing once you see the results and enroll other healthcare workers in 2017. Our deadline date for registration is May 12th. The program dates will be May 17th through June 21. The feedback and statistical information taken from our pre- and post-test surveys will contribute to a white paper being written by MPHI that will be submitted to national journals. And as you know, this research paper could highlight Michigan as a leader in human trafficking training. We hope that you'll join us, so let me know. You can either email me at patty@humantraffickingelearning.com, or you can give me a call if you have questions. We do have a flyer that I can send you and a lot of other information, and please check out the other videos that are available on our YouTube channel. Thank you for making a difference in this war on slavery.